That's number one. First of all, how does everybody feel?
I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what just went on, I teach every Monday at 2:30 till about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Actually, I'm supposed to teach at 2:30 to 5:30. I show up around 2:45, 3 o'clock. And as I'm coming in there, what people in the class aren't aware of is I start sending out my slide presentations. A lot of people need the slides. I want to make notes on it. And today I'm not actually using slides. You can probably guess why. But anyways, I always send out the slides. And at about 12 o'clock, Stephanie, where are you, Stephanie? Sends me an email, where are your slides? And sometimes the slides show up at 2:30, and that's how it all happens. So like everybody was congratulating the coaches, and they were congratulating Barbara and everybody else. I don't really deal with these people. I mean, I do, and I smile at them, and I talk very nicely, but realistically, YMCA has one person, and that's Stephanie. No Stephanie. And that's because I'm doing the Zale thing, so I really, really want to appreciate it. Okay, so I also want to congratulate Barbara on your new role. Congratulations. I didn't know that you started with one client, so there is perseverance, right? One client, and now she's the director. And then once Carolyn runs for mayor. Okay. All right, so I'm going to tell a story I told at the end of one of the last classes. It was a little testing I was doing. So I'm going to tell you a little story. For those of you who've heard the story, very nice. I might tell it a little differently this time. There is a giant pipe, and out of this pipe flows money. And there's the pipe is as big as you could possibly imagine. And that money just flows. But there's a little bit of a problem with the pipe. To get the money, you have to have a pot to catch the money. Otherwise, you don't get any of the money. And then another little problem. And I'll keep telling you all the little problems. For that pipe to flow, there's a pump on the top of that pipe. And you have to pump the pipe. Right? Anybody who's ever gone to a water well, you know, you pump the pipe, and you pump it, and you pump it, and nothing happens. And you're pushing, and you're pushing, and pushing, and then eventually a little dribble comes out, and a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And eventually you get a flow. So that's not too bad. Okay, so you need a pipe. You need to know that there is a pipe out there. You need to know that there's a pot. You need to know you got to pump it. Well, this pipe, and this pump, and this bottle, this place where you're catching the flow of money, is in a big place. And there's a big, huge fence around this big place. And around at the front, so you can only get through, and there's a guard at the door. And the guard at the door won't let you in unless you answer all the correct questions, you know, all the things about this pipe and this pump and this the whole thing. And then there's another problem. There's a road that leads to it. You have to go down that road to get to the enclosure. I need a name for the enclosure, where the pump is and the pipe and everything else is. And before that road, there's a whole bunch of other roads that you can go down. You have to choose the road that you want to go down to get to that. And then, before that, you need to know that a road exists. So if you don't know a road exists, you can't get down that road to get to the guard, to get in there, to start pumping, to set the money to start flowing so you can start to catch it. Everybody got the story? Okay. That is the way the world works. Okay, that's the way the money, and it works in everything that you do. The money, I use the example of money, but it could be whatever riches you want. Riches being health, riches being friendship, riches being love, riches being children. It's all the same. It all works the same way. But we're in the business context. So I want to tell you about a few friends of mine. Okay, these are actually, most of them are clients. I met through clients, or they're people I do business with. First guy I tell you about is a guy named Michael. Now Michael drives a Bentley, one of the, like $300,000-$400,000 car. Okay, he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He owns a business. He owns the franchising. The company is right across the world. Well named. I'm not going to tell you the names of who these people really are, but it's everywhere in the world. You would all know who this guy is. Okay, and he makes tons of money. Well, he's about to go into another business, but he only makes millions. He is now moving into making billions. So he's here, and he's looking at there. And it's not the money he's going at to, it's just the excitement. It's the moving to the next level. So he knows where that pipe is, but his pot isn't very big. I mean, relative to you and me, his pot is big, but his pot, he wants a pot. He doesn't want a pot. He wants a pot, you know? Instead of the little one that you cook the egg in, he wants the one that you make the soup in. All right, that's it. That's what he's doing, but he's working at that level. He started his business when he was like 16, 17 years old with his brothers. He worked with his brothers. They started one little tiny store, and then they built it into this massive business. Okay, so that's Michael. So he's already, and he's like around my age. Okay. Then I have another guy who's also around my age, and his name is Don. Well, Don took a job, like there's some people here that have jobs, and the opportunity came, and he was working for this company, I think 10 or 15 years, right? And the guy who owned the company wanted to sell. So it was him, and there was another guy, I don't know all the details of it, but him and this other guy was working at it, and they bought the business. They mortgaged everything. They took, we talked about risk earlier, they mortgaged everything. And they bought the business, right? And the business was okay, but it wasn't making a lot of money. Well, in 5 years, he's doubled it. And this guy, now he doesn't drive the $200,000 car. He only drives one of those Jaguar convertibles and a Lexus, or not a Lexus, yeah, I think it's one of those Lexus big ones. So that's all he drives. And he is sitting there with his business. Now he's got his business, he's making money, not making the millions, making the hundreds of thousands. So he knows where the pot is, but he can't, the pump is going. But he wants to find a bigger pot. He doesn't know how to find that bigger pot. Very similar to where you guys are. You were making money at the YMCA. You had money coming in. You got a little pot there. It was a little tiny, it's a little glass, right? But it is a glass, and money was flowing for work that you were doing. The only difference between you and Don and Michael was the size of your pot and what you're pumping. Next guy I want to talk about is a guy named Ari. Now, Ari's been in business for about 10 years, and he's got, one point I want to make was Michael was in business with his brothers, partners with his brothers. Don bought the business with a guy who worked there. It wasn't family, anything else. The two of them went together, worked as partners. Ari's in business with two other guys, and they have a business, and it's only doing maybe $5 million a year. So he's making under 100, okay? So remember we went from the hundreds to the millions, right? And he has just found the road. His business is making money, and all of a sudden, it's growing, and he's like overwhelmed. He is pulling out his hair. His desk is piled with papers, and you can't start a conversation with him without him jumping to 14 different places because he's so overwhelmed with his life. A customer calls him, and he goes, "Oh my God, a customer called me," because he can't cope with the business, which is very good. I mean, this is a good thing. He's going to solve all these problems. But these are the same problems you had when you walked in there and you had to do your business plan. It's the same thing. But he's already making money. Him and his partners are making money. Now I have my other friend, Matas. Matas owns a food business. He kills cows and he sells and he cuts the meat up and he sells it to butcher stores and he sells it to Sobeys and his business is doing under $1 million. He's struggling. He's borrowing money left, right, and center, and money's coming in and money's going out. And he's not really making any money, but he's got a business going and he is struggling. And he is now going to bring in a bunch of partners so that he doesn't have to struggle so much. Okay, and he's the NAT. Okay, everybody see the similarity between every one of these guys? He's trying to figure out which road, he's in the food business, so he knows that there's a couple of paths to go down, but he doesn't know